Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ulla. Today, I'm speaking with Nathalie, who has worked with me recently, and we actually just wrapped up our program a few months ago. And she's here to share her story and her experience since working with me and what her life and experience was like before. So, welcome, Nathalie. Thank you for being here today.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so maybe why don't you start by telling me what made you decide to book in with me?
I decided to begin with you because I was really struggling with codependency in my romantic relationship. Um, the relationship was basically the center of my life. Everything revolved around it, and I would overanalyze everything my partner would say and do, and I would be constantly looking basically for proof, for the for proof that I was being rejected, which would lead to a lot of arguments, to my partner becoming distant, and I wanted to stop the self sabotage. So that's the main reason why I reached out to you.
Okay, fantastic. And then tell me a little bit more about your problem in detail. How did it make you feel? What was it like to have these issues with attachment in your relationships? And how long had you really been experiencing these problems for?
I've been experiencing this problem for as long as I can remember. Um, it's always been like I'd never been in a healthy relationship, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like. And it would impact me or affect me because it was all I could think about. I couldn't focus on anything else. I couldn't focus on hobbies, on work, because I was so worried about losing the relationship that I would really like desperately cling onto it. Um, so yeah, it impacted me in the way that the relationship would be just all I could think about.
Yeah, and had you tried anything to fix this situation for yourself? Had you tried other therapies or other kinds of approaches to try and resolve this for yourself?
I had well, I've been going to like I guess you could call it like conventional therapy, like talk therapy, on and off for the past 10 years. Um, and I think the reason that didn't work was because I did realize, like the therapy made me realize that I was sabotaging myself,
Mhm.
and I knew where it was coming from. But I think the reason that it didn't work was because I knew it on a conscious level, but I didn't feel it or I didn't believe it on a subconscious level.
Mhm.
And I think that is why I struggled with it for so long, because in regular therapy you just talk about it, but you don't do anything to work on your like subconscious mind and your beliefs that you have about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear that from so many people that you just keep talking about why you think you can't stop, but you never address why it's happening in the first place, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts of hypnosis before you came to see me?
I had done hypnosis before, but it was not like one on one like I did with you. It was in a group coaching.
Mhm.
Uh, so I had listened to a tape before, and I roughly had an idea of what it would be like. Um, but I guess like before that, I had no clue what it would be like. I thought you'd be kind of like in hypnosis, like the way they portray it in movies, but it's nothing like that. Um, so yeah, it was. Um, it might have sounded a bit scary, but it wasn't at all. It was actually really comfortable and comforting as well.
Yeah, good to hear. I'm glad that you found it easy to kind of move into that experience. It's something new, right? And always things that are new are sometimes a bit scary to try different things. So now that you've done that, how would you describe the experience of working with me in particular?
I really enjoyed working with you because, well, first of all, because you're a good friend of mine, but also because I felt really comfortable throughout the whole experience because I felt safe enough to be vulnerable with you and share things that very few to even like know people know. And you have a really soothing voice. It's very like relaxing, and yeah, it's a very relaxing experience to listen to your voice every night. Um, yeah, I'd say it's definitely a very, very good experience.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Thank you. Well, what I would love to know is how do you feel now after the sessions and after the work we did together?
I don't want to sound too cliche, but my life has completely turned around for the better, of course. But I feel a lot better in that it feels like weight has fallen off my shoulders. I can finally breathe in a relationship, or like in the relationship that I am right now. Um, there is no more daily arguments. There's no more walking on eggshells because I've learned to not only recognize when I am being triggered, but also put myself into my partner's position, which helps me understand like the certain things he says or does, and not take it as personal anymore. Because I used to take everything personally, and now I can, you know, relax knowing that just because he's a bit quiet or that it doesn't necessarily have to do anything with me. Because before my brain just wouldn't comprehend that. So that I guess daily life in that aspect has become a lot nicer, a lot better. I don't feel anxious all the time anymore. It does still happen sometimes. I do still get triggered, but when it does, um, I'm able to pull myself out of it way faster. Um, and I'm able to just recognize that I was triggered and that it's okay, that it will happen sometimes. But that's part of the healing process. And then another big aspect how my life has changed is that I'm able to focus on other things than just a relationship. I have picked up a lot more hobbies. I am doing more things. I am focusing on my career as well. Whereas before, the relationship was the center of my universe.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like two big wins, but I even want to point out what a success story that is for you. So
Mhm.
many people who are anxious, they feel they can't survive and can't have a happy relationship with an avoidant, but you've proved that it is possible once you let go of all these
Yeah,
triggers, all the things that were making you anxious in the first place, that the avoidance actions don't affect you anymore. Or if they do, it's something that you can work through and take another perspective. You don't have to take it in that worst case scenario
yeah,
anymore, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I'm so happy to hear you say that because I think so many people out there struggle that think, well, there's so many avoidants out there, like how am I ever going to find someone secure? But it's not necessarily about that. Like you can have a happy relationship with someone who's avoidant
Yeah,
once you let go of all that pain and all those emotions that are being pulled forward into the relationship. Once you deal with that, it doesn't have to come forward anymore.
yeah, absolutely. I do like the relationship anxiety does come up sometimes, where I'm like, oh, should I be with this avoidant person? Like, is it a good match? But that, like, those thoughts can, they're always like basically come down to like, oh, we should break up right now. But those thoughts are obviously very black and white. And I've also learned to like recognize when those thoughts come up, be like, oh, but this is my relationship anxiety. Like, this is not a gut feeling. It's not, my intuition. This is literally my anxiety, my nervous system, like, having been triggered. And now I've come to a point where I can recognize that and basically soothe myself, where I don't need the reassurance from the other person anymore. And once you let those expectations go of like, I need reassurance right now or I'm going to lose it, once you learn to let that go, that your person will give you reassurance, but you have to give them the space to do it on their terms as well, not just when you need it, but they need to, or like you need to give them the space to let them come to you.
Yeah, so important. And you were just telling me earlier how in the past you also were expecting verbal reassurance, but you can accept that in other ways as well now, right?
Yeah, it's still my codependent like tendencies still love verbal like words of reassurance. But I have learned to like see all the other ways that my partner shows that he does care for me and that he does love me, even if he doesn't say it verbally. Because I used to think like very black and white again. I used to think if my partner doesn't say I love you, that meant that he doesn't love me. Whereas now I can see like, oh, my partner making me dinner or making me a coffee or picking up tampons or things like that also show that they care about you and that they love you. It doesn't, it doesn't have to come just through words.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think it's also fair to recognize that wanting your partner to say "I love you" that's not necessarily codependency. Like, you have a strong words of affirmation love language. So, of course, for you, that's going to be still strong now, even after all the work we've done. So, it's not necessarily the fact that you still want to have those words is a bad thing. The thing is that it's not triggering you to not have them, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's already an incredible transformation, and I'm so happy to see that from you. So, I'm really curious to hear from you. When you think about your life now, what are you most looking forward to?
I am very much looking forward to putting more energy into my business and my own career, um, because I know that my partner will still be there at the end of the day, and I don't have to focus all my energy and all my attention on them.
Hmm.
Uh, because well, that's would be suffocating. But I've even come to a point where I don't want to just do that anymore because
Yeah.
now if I wouldn't have my hobbies and I wouldn't have my job, um, well, I would be unhappy right now if I didn't have them. So I am very much looking forward to expanding my business, like starting coaching myself, um, doing all my hobbies. I'm really excited about doing those things, knowing that my partner is supporting me and that he's there for me.
Oh, that's so amazing. I'm so happy for you that you have the time and energy and ability to put all your priorities first for your life. And I think a lot of people resonate with that as well. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
Um,
you.
Natalie, I want to say, what would you say to people who are putting off fixing these problems in their lives, who are just sitting on the fence?
Um, I would say to that I know it's scary. First of all, I know it's really scary, and you might feel a lot of resistance to doing it. But I would say, don't, try and do it as soon as possible because the sooner you start, you will realize like, oh, this is actually like helping me. This is taking weight off my shoulders. It's making me feel better. Um, because the longer you wait, you're basically just creating more pain for yourself. So the sooner you start, the sooner you will be, start feeling better, um, and maybe better in relationships as well. So I would recommend just doing it as soon as possible. If you're thinking about doing it, just do it.
Awesome. And what would you say was the most important thing for you for achieving success with working with me?
Definitely the consistency. Having to listen to a tape for 21 days in a row, um, because you keep repeating the same things over and over and over again. You even when you think that you're falling asleep and you're not really picking anything up, but just the fact that you listen to it every day, um, each day, like it felt easier, and every day I was more and more convinced of the things I was hearing. Because like when you first start, I did feel a lot of resistance to some things I heard,
Hmm.
um, but because like you keep hearing them over and over and over again, you start accepting them. And like the moment you start accepting those things about yourself is when you start seeing changes in your life,
Hmm.
because your self concept is changing, and you're basically it shows up in your reality. The reality changes. So the consistency is definitely, to me, was the most important thing. And even if you stop doing it for whatever reason for a couple of days, just there's no reason, like, or no point in beating yourself up. Like, just start doing it again. Even if you have to start over 10 times, it will get easier each time.
Yeah, great words and like fantastic lessons. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that you've come on today to share your story with everyone. And I think it's super inspiring for those people that, like I said, are maybe sitting on the fence, or, they know they want to do something, they just haven't decided what that is yet. And to see that it is possible to change, and that it is really possible to go from that point where you can't even think about anything else in your life other than the relationship, to being able to have a relationship, be okay with an avoidance person's actions,
Mhm.
prioritize your business and your passions and your self-care, and all those things are possible. It's so inspiring to see that. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for helping me. You've literally changed my
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Seriously, I'm so glad. It was my pleasure, and thank you so much again, to everyone who's watching. Thank you for being here. I hope you found this video really informative and really inspiring for yourself and your own journey. Please give it a like if you did enjoy it, and share it with someone that you think may also find this information helpful, who may be on their own journey as well. Thank you again for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.